Hey guys, Jemmy here! So we've already covered all the story mode primal battles, as well as Ifrit's story mode, the Bowl of Embers. Now let's get to the more challenging trials. Today we'll start off with the Bowl of Embers hard mode. Since this is a comprehensive guide on all the fighting mechanics, knowing thy enemy will win the fight, so let's go over his skills. Ifrit comes equipped with several moves. Flame Breath, which is a frontal conus AoE affecting tanks the most. Vulcan Burst, a radial AoE knockback around Ifrit. Eruption, a target radial AoE where Ifrit will randomly target a party member placing cracks beneath their feet, which will explode, damaging all who are within that radius. Radiant Plumes, a field AoE where multiple circular plates will cover a certain area of the field then explode. Infernal Nails, linked to Ifrit's ultimate Hellfire. 4 nails will drop into the ground and they need to be destroyed before Hellfire in order to proceed. Hellfire, the ultimate move. If Infernal Nails aren't destroyed, Hellfire will do enough damage to one-shot your entire party. If the nails are destroyed in time, it will do significant damage, but not quite enough to wipe your party. And lastly, Ifrit's Charge. He will leap into the air and charge in a linear direction from one end of the field to the other, starting with one, then making clones of himself. Since now we have an overview, let's see the skills in action so you know what to look out for in-game. First we'll take a look at Flame Breath, where he does a conus motion from one end to the other. I say this will affect tanks majority of the time because your melee DPS always wants to be behind Ifrit. The next skill that we'll look at is Vulcan Burst. As you see here, as in melee, it knocked me back, so anyone within that radius will be knocked back and take damage. Eruption will happen many times throughout this fight because it happens quite often. So he'll target any random person and place these cracks around the ground. You'll have to run away from them before they explode. For Radiant Plume, circular plates will form around certain parts of the field. They'll start off either in the center or in the outer ring of the field and explode, so you have to avoid those areas. So if they're in the outer ring, you want to move to the middle. If they're in the middle, you want to move to the outer ring. But sometimes after a while they will become irregular, forming in areas where it's not really an outer ring or inner ring, it's just kind of everywhere. The best place to stay is more near Ifrit so that you don't accidentally get hit by them. The Infernal Nails look exactly like the Infernal Fetter that you saw in the story mode. However, there's just more of them, 4 in total. At this point, you want everyone besides the tank and healers to focus on the nails. If your DPS is on par, then no need for a limit breaker. If not, then this is where an AoE limit breaker such as Meteor will help knock a big chunk of life off each of those nails. Now it is critical to get all of these nails down before Hellfire goes off, because this will determine if it will be a party wiping one shot or if it will just be an AoE that does significant damage. So we were able to get all of the nails down in time, and Ifrit just did his Hellfire, which hit for about 1,600. And lastly, Ifrit's Charge. So at about a third of his life is down, he'll start doing a charge just by himself where he'll go from one end to the other, like so. You want to avoid getting hit by those. Then at about 50% of his life, that number will increase to 2 Ifrits that will charge the field. At the last third of his life, Ifrit will start charging, however there will be 3 Ifrits this time charging the field. And he will do this about a couple times in the last third of his life. So keep on the lookout. When he leaps into the air, that's your cue to look around the field and see where the Ifrits are facing. The best place to be is right beside them. Okay, so now we're just going to see the entire fight from beginning to end so that you have a feel about what happens through the entire thing. You want to take some time in the beginning to wait for all of your conjurer buffs, make sure that everyone is set and ready to go, who is going to be the main tank, who is going to be the off tank, and in the case where LB is needed or used, it would be helpful to know who will be using the LB. Of course, let the tank go in first and get comfortable, get all the aggro he needs to get, and place Ifrit where he wants to place it and facing the right direction. Usually in the hard mode fights where the tank is standing is the far part of the field from where you actually came in from, with Ifrit facing him, so his back is toward everyone else. At that point, any kind of melee range DPS would be behind Ifrit, so more on his hind legs, and all range people would be more towards the start area where he had came in from, just to keep a safe distance from that Vulcan burst. And of course, at this time you want to watch out for any eruptions going around, so be aware of where you are standing and what's going on underneath your feet. If it starts glowing, then that's your cue to go away and move somewhere else. Here we see Ifrit has leapt into the air and is somewhere around the field, so you want to watch out where Ifrit is and see which direction he's facing and not be in that direction. Go the other way or stand close to him. That way where he ends up being won't be to you because you're standing where he is already at, if you know what I mean? And here we see the first of our radiant plumes come out, and it is plated around the field, so you want to move towards the center to avoid that damage and continually avoid those eruptions. And now we see that the plumes are in the middle. Now if you saw a little bit before the actual plumes came out, you saw tiny little crystals come down from the sky down to the ground. So that's kind of like your cue. Ifrit is charging the field right now, but instead of just being by himself, he now has a clone to help him. The same rules apply. You just have to watch out where he's facing, which means that the direction he is going to be taking. So you want to avoid, try to be on the sides of him so that you don't end up being where he ends up. I know it's kind of confusing, but it makes sense when you watch it. See the radiant plumes just come out again on the outer field. Our infernal nails have just dropped. This is the time when all the DPS want to be focusing on these nails and burning these babies down as fast as possible. Now, if your DPS is lacking, then maybe this is the best time for your summoner or black mage to use their limit breakers, since it is an AoE. The meteor will damage all of these nails simultaneously, chunking down their life, so that you just have to finish them off before the hellfire actually goes off. So now our time is up, and Hellfire, Ifrit's about to do his Hellfire right now. And since we were able to get the nails in time, we just took some significant AoE damage. Nothing that, a healer can't AoE heal to recover from. But just continually remember to watch the ground. Like, you really can't say that enough because eruption happens so much throughout the fight. So now we have the charges again. So since he is at his last third of life, he has 3 of clones of himself now, and he'll be charging in that direction. So if you are within that area, then this is what's going to happen to you. You're just going to die. You're going to be continually hit because you're trying to run away in the direction that he's going. So we have the radiant plumes come out again within the center. And a lot of eruptions. And then some irregular radiant plumes. This will only happen around the end, so it'll always be on the outer or inner kind of radiant plumes until you pass the hellfire point, and then it will start getting irregular, so you have to watch out where you are. The best place to probably be is somewhere close to Ifrit, just in case those irregular plumes come out. Then you have enough time to dash or sprint up to Ifrit and be safe. So Ifrit has just leapt up into the air. So this is what I'm talking about. If you're standing right next to Ifrit, then there's no way that you'll be hit because he's going away from you. As long as you're not within that linear range. So you can't stand in front of him or at his claws. You just have to be standing like beside him, but with enough space. So from this point, basically it's a rinse and repeat. There's nothing special or new that comes up after this. You just have to watch out for where you are, and especially if you're a caster, definitely watch out where you're casting, because you never know, while mid-cast there might be an eruption that comes around your feet, or there might be radiant plumes that come around your feet, and by the time it takes you to get out of the animation, the explosion will have already gone off, killing you. So just be careful of that. This is another example. See, Ifrit's actually closer to us, and everyone is standing in that little corner right there, and everyone's safe because that's not where Ifrit is ending up. Thanks guys for watching. I hope this helped you guys out when you are in the hard mode of the Bolt of Embers. If you are interested in seeing how to get your own unicorn, you could go ahead and click the middle link right here. And so that you never miss any other Final Fantasy updates, go ahead and click that subscribe button on top. You can find me on other forms of social media such as Twitter and Facebook, where all the convenient links will be listed in the description bar below. Thanks guys again. I'll see you later. Bye bye.